Good morning, everyone. Hi, it's Amy Marie. Hi, y'all. So I'm doing things a little bit different this week. I am going to do a video. We're actually going to do a cooking video, baking video in my kitchen in a little bit. I'm going to show you how to make my mom's famous chocolate chip cookies. I kind of tweaked it like I always tweak everything. You guys, if you've been watching my videos long enough on cooking, you know I tweak everything. I may take a recipe that says, oh, it's foolproof, and then I do something else with it. So anyway, we are going to do that. We are going to be baking, like I said, the famous chocolate chip cookies. But this has been on my mind since Wednesday. Today, of course, Saturday, March 11th. 2023, in case you watch this a few years from now. Anyway, so last Wednesday, I don't remember the date. Wednesday the 8th? Okay. So I work part-time from home, Monday through Friday. I get off by 12:30 out here in Utah time. And I love movies. I have always loved movies. My father instilled this love of movies with me. I grew up watching like the Westerns, John Wayne. I love John Wayne. Clint Eastwood, Good, Bad, and the Ugly. That's actually one of my father's favorite movies, and I love watching that. I have it. He got me into war movies, World War II. My dad, like I said, he instilled this love of movies. Oh, we got introduced to Godzilla, the original Godzilla, the Toho Godzilla. We got introduced to many different monster movies. So that's actually one of my biggest passions. I love movies with action, number one. There's got to be action. Don't give me a movie that's going to make me fall asleep. Damn it. I don't like those. If I want to fall asleep, never mind. Anyway, I love movies with monsters. Now let me clarify. There's different types of monsters. I like animal type monsters. I like alien kind of monsters. I don't like people monsters. And when I say people monsters, I'm talking about like paranormal kind of ghosts, zombies. I'm not a big fan of vampires and the werewolf stuff. I'm not too big on that. Psycho killers, I'm not a big fan of. Although I will say The Bone Collector is an amazing movie. I love that movie. That's a good one. Seven. Oh, that one was really good. I mean, I've seen like I Know What You Did Last Summer, and I've seen stuff like that. And I can tolerate that. But when it comes to things like it, I can't watch it. It's a clown. It's a person. No, I can't watch that. I don't watch like the Chainsaw Massacres. I've never seen any of the Halloween movies. Like I said, I don't like people monsters. I will admit that I got into The Walking Dead. I love the first 4 seasons. The end of the 4th season kind of ruined it for me, but I love the first 4 seasons of that show. And yeah, that's the closest I've really come to zombies. I'm not a zombie person. I do love Underworld and that series. It depends what it is, and just like I said, people monsters bother me. I don't like watching actual serial killer movies with like the Jeffrey Dahmer story that came out recently. I don't want to. That stuff really bothers me. Yet I love watching Forensic Files, and I've gotten into a new show called The Perfect Murder, and I am a weirdo, and I'm a contradiction full of contradictions. You will see this about me, so just deal with me. I have personal preferences of what I will and what I don't want to watch. Anyway, I love monster movies, monsters, like kind of animal resemblance. Godzilla, I love watching that stuff. Back in the 50s where it was the atomic scares, the alien, the giant ants that were radiated from the tests that were happening out in the deserts. The tarantula movie. It is called Tarantula. Okay. Praying Mantis. I mean, stuff like that I grew up with. I love those sort of things. Like I said, the original Godzilla, the new American Godzilla stuff done by Legendary, I actually really do enjoy. Anaconda, Alligator, Jaws. I love that sort of stuff. Okay. So where am I going with this? Wednesday the 8th, I went to the movies to see a movie that at first I thought I was not going to see because I thought the title was stupid. Believe it or not, seriously, if the title sounds stupid, I'm like, it's probably going to be a stupid movie. Let's take Snakes on a Plane, for instance. I mean, God, I love Samuel L. Jackson. He's the best MFer ever. Talented man, great man. Snakes on a Plane, though? I couldn't even make 5 minutes into that movie. I'm sorry, Samuel. I just couldn't. And I'm sure you can't now either, so it's okay. You've got other movies behind your belt. You're good. Anyway, Cocaine Bear. It just sounded so stupid to me. When I first heard it, I am like, this is ridiculous. Why do we need a movie about a drugged up bear? I didn't realize it was actually based on a true story. And that's where it piqued my interest. So I am at my computer in my office, sort of, kind of. Don't worry about this crap behind me. I'm actually going to be referring to the New York Times article here. I'm sorry, I don't have an exact date, but I'm sure that it came out recent because it's talking about, yes, the Cocaine Bear. It was real, and here's the real story. This actually did happen where there was a drug courier that was flying a plane over the East Coast and for some reason decided to just start dropping kilograms of cocaine everywhere. And in Georgia, there was a 175-pound black bear that got its paws on cocaine. Now, again, the movie that came out, it is a bloodbath. And it is fun. I'm not a psycho, I swear. I'm just a weirdo. Okay, coffee break, one moment. Oh, I love my coffee. Anyway, so Cocaine Bear. The movie itself, I don't want to give out too many details. I hate spoilers. I really do. I try not to watch commercials. And I didn't watch any commercials on the Cocaine Bear because I wanted to be surprised. I wanted to watch the movie myself, see what happens. I did read up about this, that this is actually based on that true story, that this actually happened in about 1985. And I love how it says nearly 40 years ago because I was born in 1985. I'm turning 38 this year. That hurts. Anyway. So the movie itself also attracted me because Kerry Russell's in it. I did not get into Felicity. I know that was Kerry Russell back on the WB old school days. I actually just recently watched Antlers with Kerry Russell in it. And she's actually a really convincing, dramatic female character in a kind of a horror movie. So I was actually very interested because I enjoyed her performance in Antlers. So I was like, oh, maybe this would be good too. Ray Liotta, God bless him. I loved Ray Liotta in many of his movies. One of my favorite was Operation Dumbo Drop. Such a classic Disney movie. He also was good at playing bad guy roles, and his role in, I want to say it's called Hannibal. Yeah, the second Hannibal Lecter movie, Hannibal, right after Silence of the Lambs, with, that really pretty actress. I'm trying to remember what her name is. God, I'm going to slap myself. But it also has, of course, Sir Anthony Hopkins and Julie... oh, I'm going to slap myself. Please forgive me. I know who you are. I see your face. You're a beautiful actress. I love watching you too. Anyway, O'Shea Jackson Jr. is actually in this too, and I knew he looked familiar. I'm like, God, I know this guy from somewhere. I loved his character in this movie. I just got to tell you, there's some characters that just get to you, and his character was awesome. So anyway, basic plot of the movie is like the real life story. Cocaine courier is dropping bags of cocaine all over the East Coast, and they do find it, I believe, as far north as Tennessee, but this particular one fell in a national forest in Georgia, the Chattahoochee, I want to say. Anyway, Bear gets into it, and Bear gets addicted. Yep. So the real life story again, I'm just going to read this little excerpt. It was just a clip taken here. Again, this is the New York Times off the internet. Cocaine and a dead bear, Blue Ridge, Georgia. And that happened December 22nd back in 1985. A 175-pound black bear apparently died of an overdose of cocaine after discovering a batch of the drug, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation said today. The cocaine was apparently dropped from the plane piloted by Andrew Thornton, a convicted drug smuggler who died September 11th in Knoxville, Tennessee, because he was carrying too heavy a load while parachuting. Okay, so that was the basic plot, and you get the actual true story basic plot in the first few moments of the movie. After that, it is Hollywood, and Hollywood took over. And you know what? God bless Hollywood, because Hollywood, this is actually an awesome movie. We have had so many movies recently where they're sequels, they're prequels, they're a remake of a movie that was already done before, and we've already beaten the dead horse enough. There's no need to do it anymore. So this was actually a really refreshing kind of a movie in a way as well. Yes, it's gory. Do not take your children. There was some parent that brought their kid, and it was a little kid. You could tell it was a little kid. You don't give your kids nightmares, okay? This is not a Care Bear movie. This is not Winnie the Pooh. This is not Ted. This is a rated R movie. Don't take your little kids. Please, come on. Be reasonable. Anyway, so where was I going with this? Anyway, this is a refreshing movie because it's so different from what we've been getting lately. I'm not knocking off Marvel. I enjoy the Marvel comics. I'm not knocking off the remakes that are happening, especially Disney's remaking a lot of our animated classics into modern live action. But come on, where's the originality? Where is that spark of genius? You're like, hey, you know, what story have we not covered yet? A cocaine bear. And it actually really did happen. But this is where, you know, reality and fiction start to pull apart here, is that the bear actually died of an overdose. The real bear died of the overdose, and it was only 175 pounds. Now, in the movie, they are saying that the bear is significantly larger, although the CGI, I will have to admit, you can tell it's a fake bear. It's not the best CGI in the world. And you know what? I still say kudos to this because it's an original movie. I want to give some credit where credit is due here. So Elizabeth Banks is the director. I'll be honest, I don't know how many movies she's directed or if this is her directorial debut, but thank you, Elizabeth. This was what I wanted to come see. This was the kind of movie that I really wanted to see that day. And you delivered. Thank you. I appreciate that. Again, the characters that are in it, Ray Liotta, this was his absolute last film. And I think he went out with a bang. Good job, Ray Liotta. Awesome. Kerry Russell, like I said, O'Shea Jackson, Christopher, I know he was in the Game of Thrones series. I recognize him very well. He plays himself apparently in the movie, and he's really good, really phenomenal. Jesse Tyler Ferguson, excuse me. He was in this movie. He was great. The kids that were in the movie too, Brooklyn Prince and the little boy. Where's the little boy? Why are you not showing me the little boy? Christian Kovme. He was great. Like I said, there were a lot of really good characters in this movie. And it was fun. This was a fun movie to watch and be a part of. Like I said, I don't want to give too much away. I don't want to say things to take away your excitement. It was worth it. I paid $11.25 for my seat. I actually got to sit in what they call the luxury box, where they had it kind of boxed away from me. I was happy I was by myself. I went to the matinee at $12.55. Not $12.55, $2.55. And I enjoyed it. I had a great time. I got myself a bottle of water because I'm not doing soda anymore, and I didn't want some sugary anything else. So I got a bottle of water, and I got myself a Pizza Hut pepperoni pizza and ate that. Not a big pizza person, but I was like, hey, this hit the spot. This was great for a movie, because that was a late lunch anyway that day. It definitely, you're there 2 hours, a lot of commercials. But like I said, if you're just looking for a movie that is fun, fast-paced, action-filled, this is good. If you like going to movies where you have great characters, a believable, actually very believable storyline too, go see this movie. Again, remember, mature audiences, there is blood. There is cocaine used by people too. I won't tell you who, but so there is there's drugs that are being done, not just by the bear. But this movie, I think, really affected me, not just as a movie goer. And I want to make sure I let everybody know, I think y'all know this though, but I haven't graduated community college. I don't have an AA. I have been trying for an AA for probably over 20 years now. Long story, I don't want to bore you more than I already have, but I did get the privilege to take a movie class, and that was probably one of my favorite classes I think I've ever taken. Even though a lot of the movies I was like, I wouldn't watch this in my personal time, I learned so much, and I got a deeper appreciation of movies taking that class as well. So if you love movies, even if you're not looking to further an education or whatnot, take a movie or a film class, just the beginning level. It really does help you understand and enjoy movies even better. It just gives you that better appreciation. I'm not Roger and Roper. I'm not Roger Ebert. I'm not a professional movie reviewer. I am a straight up, street smart, I'm just doing this for the hell of it fun. I enjoy movies. I used to debate movies with my brother, brother Mickey D. We don't get to do that anymore, unfortunately. I used to do it with my dad, and we don't really do that either. So this is my outlet to do that. So I just want to explain why, on my end, this movie kind of affected me and got me thinking. I am going to bring up some science now. I love movies. I love animals. I love nature. I do watch a lot of Discovery and Animal Planet. That was another thing that my father really helped to instill in me, is that growing up, we would go to our local library and we would borrow different nature movies, different programs. It was on VHS. We did not have DVD at that time, y'all. Remember, I'm almost 40. Anyway, and then when we were able to afford cable, the Discovery Channel was one of my absolutely favorites, even better than Disney, because I felt I learned, and I love to learn. Learning is something that I don't want to stop doing. I love learning. So animals, love animals. And on my own in the last, let's go about 10 years, I've also have been watching different programs and whatnot, especially because global warming is a topic of interest right now in our day and age. Everybody has their own opinion of global warming. And you know what? I don't want to go into any political debates here, but I do want to say that you can say yes, because of global warming, nature has had to start taking different courses to adapt. And that is something that you see in what they say animals of higher level thinking, of intelligence, is the ability to adapt. I've heard scientists quote that it takes hundreds, maybe even thousands of years for a species to learn a new behavior. That's not true. No. If you look at us humans as a society and you see how far we've advanced in just the last 100 years, you could see that it doesn't take that long for us to learn a new trick. Now, the reason why I want to talk about this is because the idea of introducing an addictive substance like cocaine into an environment where it never existed. In real life, the bear died of an overdose, which happens in real life with people too. When you take far too much of a drug like cocaine, heroin, methamphetamines, you die. You do. Your body can't handle it, and it breaks down and shuts down. I have no personal experience with drugs. I never will, because I've seen too many other people ruin their lives and the lives of others around them. So no, I have no experience with drugs, but I do have experience with addictions. Addictions are not just drugs and alcohol and cigarettes. There's people who are coming out bravely admitting that I have not me. There are people coming out saying that they have sexual addictions and they've been going to sex therapy and rehab. Woo! Let's dodge that bullet right now. Sorry, I'm not trying to make light of that. That just came out wrong. Please forgive me. I'll admit that my addictions are food. Battling anxiety and depression, definitely. I will eat, not because I'm hungry, not that I need to, but to comfort myself. And I can admit that 100%. I've recognized that and I totally accept that. So that's an addiction. Diet Coke was a huge addiction for me. And since I've quit it, like I said, I haven't had Diet Coke at all this year. So like 3 months, I haven't had it. There's been times where it's like, you know, a Diet Coke would be really nice here, especially when a stressful situation comes up and I want that gratification that Diet Coke gives me. But I haven't had it. I'm not drinking any sodas. And actually my body is much happier without the carbonation, and it feels better without the carbonation. Now, coffee is an addiction that I ain't kicking anytime soon. So y'all just chill out. I've been working on my food intake, definitely trying not to just snack for the hell of it. And I've actually been eating less, taking smaller portions, trying to be a lot more careful with how much I am eating. So I am working on my food addiction. I'm kicking my Diet Coke and soda addiction. The coffee is staying. But I want you to open up your mind and broaden your horizon about the word addiction. Addiction is not just drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, and like I said, sexual addictions that are coming out. There's people with relationship addictions. There's people with feel-good addictions, because that's what addiction does. It satisfies this imbalance that you have, this need that you have. That's what addiction does. And like I said, with my Diet Coke addiction, you know, I start getting stressed out. I'm feeling like it's the end of the world. It's like, gosh, if I had a sip of Diet Coke right now, I would be in heaven. And when I get that sip, I'm like, oh, so much better. But is it actually healthy for me? I mean, there was one time that I was probably drinking at least 2 liters a day, at least. And that's not really a healthy thing either. So I want you to understand the idea of addiction. Addiction isn't just what we're used to, drugs, alcohol, cigarettes. There's many other forms of addiction. And I do want to say that addiction can be also relationships. You just desire and crave some sort of trait out of a relationship, so you'll constantly keep looking for that. Anyway, so with the human addiction to cocaine, and we're smuggling it in and trying to find other avenues of getting it in, and then this incident where cocaine was introduced to an apex predator that's never done it, never seen it. Also keep in mind that the packages of cocaine were handled by people, so it has that human scent to it. Then the argument can come up about, do animals actually hunt people? There's been this argument about animals that are actually man-eaters. One of my favorite arguments is actually great white sharks. Why? Well, again, I love Jaws. One of my favorite Spielberg movies, I will have to say. The first one. We'll talk about the other ones later. Anyway, the reason why I also talk about this is that I'm originally from Lompoc, California. I'm a native of Lompoc, California. And I actually lived about 10 miles away from Surf Beach. Surf Beach on Vandenberg Air Force property, actually several years in a row, was very famous in October for shark attacks. Great white shark attacks, attacking people out in the water. Surfers and scientists will say, oh, well, the shark got confused thinking it was a seal because of being on the board and then the wetsuit and the movements you make and whatnot. Yeah, again, being a native of Lompoc and going to Surf Beach quite often throughout my whole lifetime, I don't ever remember seeing a seal out there. I don't ever remember seeing a sea otter out there. Now, if you go further south to like Halama, or if you go further north up to like Pismo and Avila, yes, seals, sea lions. You would also see otters. Otters started making a nice comeback up in that area. But surf, and right next to it is Ocean Park, no seals. I've never seen seals out there, never seen sea otters. So the idea for a shark in that area to think that it's going after a seal when it's actually a human, that puzzles me. That doesn't make sense to me. Another thing too, it happens almost, I believe, actually identical dates. It was 2010, 2012, October, identical dates, and there were fatalities. So again, that makes me think this might be the same shark. It's a learned behavior. You got a taste in 2010. You thought, oh, this actually is not that bad. And you come back a couple years later and you think, hey, this is still pretty damn good. I do believe that animals, especially predators, when they are having a difficult time trying to find prey, will find whatever they can. It's proven when their environment is desolate, especially in like winter, where everything's either hibernating or dead. And then animals having to migrate. You look at the African lions and the distances they have to travel to try to find food, especially in times of drought there. I do believe that animals do start getting a taste for human, and that certain animals, maybe not all of them, but certain ones become man-eaters. Think about that if you go watch Cocaine Bear. Just think about that. And remember, the scent of human is on the actual cocaine. So I want you to think about that. That's one thing I want you to think about if you go to this movie. Second thing I want you to think about, again, talking about global warming and climate change, again, is that animals have to adapt. And when their environment changes, something in their diet changes, they have to adapt to that as well. Another thing that's been happening in recent years, being seen more and more often, is polar bears. We have all been hearing about how the polar bears are losing sea ice to hunt the seals on. It's just becoming water. There's nowhere that they can really. So some bears are starving. There are some bears that have learned to go further south of the Arctic Circle, and they are hunting animals further south than usually they would. But they're learning that. Another thing they're learning is that since they're finding less and less of their polar bear mates to be mating with to make cute little polar bear cubs, they're mating with grizzly bears that they come encountered with. And these are sometimes called pizzly bears or zebra bears, grizzler bears. There's so many different nicknames for this hybridization that's happening between polar bear and grizzly bear. And again, this is another example of animals being able to adapt to what is being thrown at them. That was another thing I wanted to bring up. One more thing, this video is getting a little longer than I was hoping to make it. Another thing too that I wanted to bring up, and that article I had, I referenced the Santa Barbara News Press for the shark stories, and I referenced, oh dear. I just referenced off the internet for the grizzly bears. I was on Google, so I'll say it was Google. It wasn't Wikipedia. I have also referenced Wikipedia for a couple other things for this video, but it wasn't that one. PBS, their website, I'm referencing. Now, there's actually a video here. I watched this, and this has stayed with me for a long time. There was a nature program that I had borrowed from the library, and it's talking about the Arctic life and what's going on up there because of global warming. This stayed with me, and I think this will stay with me for the rest of my life because this really affected me. Orcas, killer whales. Yes, they want to call them the largest dolphins. I'm not going into that. I am going to tell you that orcas are extremely intelligent. They are so much more intelligent than we realize, and we are learning that every single day. They live in groups called pods. They usually have a matriarch, a female that is the lead. She's usually a grandmother, a mother of a lot of the family there. Anyway, they all learn together and they pass down their traditions to the younger. Killer whales are incredible animals. Like I said, extremely intelligent animals. Animals that should not be locked up for our enjoyment. They need to stay in the wild where they belong. One thing that's come out, I want to say within the last 10 years, is that it's now being shown that orcas actually are hunting great white sharks, an apex predator. They hunt them for their their liver. They're hunting for the liver because the liver has so much nutrients and stuff in it. And that's all they really eat of the shark is the liver. And it's amazing to watch them hunt the shark because the shark, remember, is an apex predator itself. One apex predator going after another. But again, when you have numbers on your side, sharks hunt by themselves. They don't rely on anybody else's help. They don't swim in schools. You may see dozens of great whites together, but as soon as a pod of killer whales come, those other great whites vanish because they know what's going to happen. This story is actually up around the Arctic Circle. This is a pod of narwhals. Narwhals are in the whale family. They are famous for having the 10-foot tusk coming out of their head, and they're also called the unicorns of the sea. So when the sea ice starts melting, they actually like to travel in these now like ice rivers that open up. They like to travel to go find more food, find other friends, yada, yada, yada. Well, orcas found this one pod of narwhals, and they killed every single narwhal in this pod. It wasn't because they needed to eat every single narwhal. They didn't even eat all the narwhals, but they killed every single one of them in the pod. And it made no sense. This was a new behavior that was filmed, hadn't been seen before. They trapped the narwhals in a way that they couldn't escape. Either the narwhals would drown or they would be killed by the orcas. There was no way they could escape. The narwhals couldn't. So I think cried a little when I watched this. The narwhals had no chance against the orcas. Now, why did the orcas do this? Orcas, was it a territorial thing where they felt that they had to kill their enemy that was in their territory? They may have eaten a couple of the narwhals, but they didn't eat all of them. They just killed them for really no apparent reason. Or think about this. We have drug smugglers. We have people dumping in the oceans all the time, chemicals and whatnot. And we've already seen the effect that plastics have on our wildlife. Do you think maybe the chemicals that we've dumped into the ocean have an effect on the wildlife too? That's feeding frenzy behavior for a creature that doesn't really do feeding frenzies. So was there a chemical reaction that triggered this? I want you to think about all these different things, and maybe there's something that I've said that's triggered a thought in your mind too. If you go see Cocaine Bear, again, this is not an Academy Award winning movie. I'm sorry, the CGI, it's fake. I love you guys, but it was fake. You could tell it was a fake ass bear, okay? And there were some actually good performances, I will say. Like I said, I really loved O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s character. He was so much fun. And the kids did a great job too. I like the kids. Kerry Russell did great, Ray Liotta. But it's not an Academy Award winning movie. But this is definitely a movie I think that we should be watching and thinking more about, not just, again, from the addiction point of view and what addictions do to people and animals, but what are we doing to affect our environment even more than just global warming and climate change? We're trying to reduce the plastics, which is a great thing. I totally agree with that. But let's also think about the chemicals, because chemicals definitely do react. All right, that's enough of that. Thank you so much for listening and putting up with me today. And again, I do want to try to do movie reviews here and there. Maybe I'll review some older movies, but I do love reviewing the new stuff that I see too. I definitely have plans to go see the new Mario movie when it comes out. The 4th John Wick, hell yeah, I want to go see John Wick. Keanu, oh, so beautiful. I'm going to go see my Indy. I gotta go see Indiana when that comes out, and unfortunately I've seen too many commercials for that, not because I've wanted to, but it's been put there. So there are some movies that I definitely want to go see, and there's things that I want to review. Hey, if you enjoyed this, like this video. If there's a movie that you want me to review, put it in the comments section. I'm open to it. Just remember, if it's like a people monster movie, if it's going to cause me nightmares, I don't know. But I'm also not into pornographic things. I really don't like pornographic and just blatant nudity. It's got to actually fit with the story for me to watch it. If, we just have naked people for the hell of it, no, I'm not into that. So again, though, hey, if you have a movie that you would like to hear my take on it, put it in the comments section. And if you want to see more of these kind of videos, like I said, I'm going to go do my cookies. You're going to be a part of the cookies. If you want to see more of the movie kind of reviews, you want to see me critique different foods, subscribe. You're going to see stuff. All right. Thank you so much for being here for this video. Now let's switch gears, go to the kitchen, and let's make some chocolate chip cookies.